we have our blocks. Now we need to put some mines on them, right? So we go to the level. We're going to need some variables. So I'm going to put these variables over here. We need to know for every level how many mines we want, and I'm going to use a formula here. So I have this constant here. But again, if you don't want to use a formula, you can go down here and where do I have that? And you could just set the mines over here, how many you want. But I'm going to use a formula. Well, actually, I did already, as you see over here. So, so I guess I have that twice. Now let me delete that. Yeah, I have that already there. So let's leave that. The other thing we need is when we play the game, we need to know how many mines have been revealed, right? Or how many mines are left in the game. So we're going to keep track of how many, we're going to keep track of all the blocks that have mines on them. This will be very useful later when the game is won and we want to reveal the mines first, right? And we also want to keep track of the ones without the mines. So anyway, this will be very valuable at the end of the game. So let's minimize these variables. I think we have them right here, region. Now level setup, we have that. Let's do a region play game, right? Region gameplay. So the way it's going to work is the player is going to click a block the first time, and once they click that block, let's see, yeah, once they click that block, we have to generate the mines, right? Because we don't want to generate the mines before he clicks. Otherwise he might land on the mine. So remember, we're trying to, I don't know, something's with the curly brace. I have to see if I got that right. So on the first click, we have to generate the mine and start the game. So as they click, we have to check if they have, so the first time the num blocks reveal will be 0, right? And on the first click, we have to generate the mines. So this will generate the mines, and this will initialize those arrays. Okay, so let me just see. I think I might have duplicated. It says num mines are ready. So it looked like I had them before. Let me double check that, right? Right, num mines. Okay, so that was already done. So let's leave it, right? And let's go to our gameplay here, right? So we have to generate the mines. Okay, I'm going to take that out of the gameplay, right? Because that's a one-shot deal, and I'm going to make a new region, and this will be generate mines. So we need to have the block that you selected so we can avoid it, right? So this is the block, the first block that was selected, and we need to ensure that there is no mine on that block. Okay, so to generate the mines, I have a method here. We're going to keep track of how many mines we've generated, right? So this is how many mines were generated so far. So I'm going to make a list of all the this is going to be a list of indices for every mine. So it might look like this, right? It'll start at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then what we'll do is we'll randomize it. You know, 7, 23, 45, 2, whatever, 54. So we take a list and then we randomize it, and then we choose these numbers from the front of the list and we convert them into rows and columns, and that's where we place the mines, right? Of course, avoiding this block all the time. So the first function is called randomize mines. So we need a random number. Okay, so we need this function randomize. Okay, let's put this down here. So, like I said, the first thing we do is we make a list and we just put numbers from 0 up to the maximum number of mines. So if we have 8 by 8, that's going to be 64. So this will be a number from 0 through 63. And so that's going to be the value in each slot. And then we use the random generator to switch things around, right? So 500 usually will be enough to randomize that. So we choose 2 random values and we switch them. So this will give us that random number in each slot. Okay, let's go back. So we have the random numbers. Now we're going to iterate through them and place those mines, right? As many mines as we need to. So this just takes the number that's in that randomize, right? And retrieves it, and then we do our work. The first thing we have to check is if we maxed out, right? If we maxed out, then what we do is we get out of the loop, right? So if we placed all our mines, so this is a mine counter. We have a mine counter starting at 0. Every time we place a mine, we increase that. And if it's bigger or equal to the num mines by coincidence, just finish. We're done, right? We placed all the mines. The next part is to get that number from the randomize, right? And convert it into rows and columns. So this is the formula that does that, right? So this is a little tricky, but if it works, if you have a number and you divide it by the columns, you get the row that number is in. And if you take the remainder of the columns, you'll get the column that number is in. Anyway, check that. You'll see this will give us the right row and column. Okay, we got the row and column of that one. But that might be the block, right? So that might be that selected block's row and column. So we don't want that. So what we'll do is we'll just ignore it, right? So if we pick that number by coincidence, we'll ignore it, right? Okay, if it is okay to place that mine in that slot, what we'll do is first we'll we'll first get the block, right? So we need to get that block. We have the row and column. It's okay to put a mine there. Then we'll set the mine to true. It does have a mine, so we'll use that function. And remember, this is the function that's capital H, right? And we'll add it to the all mines array. Remember, we want to keep track of the blocks that have the mines. I don't think we need... Oh, okay. You know what we'll do? We'll show the mines. So I like to see the mines. Of course, you don't want to show the mines during the game, but as we're doing this, I like to see the mines. So what we'll do is we'll go to the block and we'll say, and we'll call this function show block, and we'll show the mines. So this is going to be interesting, and then we'll increase our mine count, right? So that loop, this loop, will generate the mines on the block. Okay, just to finish this up, after we set up all the mines, I want to set up these no mines ones too, right? So this is a list, and we're going to go and we're going to loop through the whole matrix, and if it doesn't have a mine, we'll add it to this list, right? So remember, like I said, this will be very useful at the end to have these, right? I'm getting some errors here, so I'm going to double check some errors. It says game state does not contain play. Oh, okay, so in here, I'm actually using player move. So I'm going to go over here and say player move. It's actually player move. And the other thing, it's saying that I never numblocks max. Numblocks max was never initialized. Okay. The other thing is it's telling me that this hasn't been done yet. Okay, we'll get to that, right? And what's the other thing? So it's saying numblocks num does not exist to 10. 210 numblocks revealed. So numblocks revealed, that's part of the gameplay, right? So will set that variable. That's part of the gameplay. So we'll get to that later. And numblocks max. Let's actually put them both in here. So here they are. This is just going to be the number of blocks total. And let's initialize those. So that's in the setup. So right here, let's initialize those. So the numblocks max, this is a formula. It's used a lot. This number is used a lot, so we don't want to calculate it every time. And at the beginning of the game, you have no revealed blocks, right? So that's 0. Okay, so if I go back, save everything, all the errors are gone. Okay, so we have the function, but we need to click on a block, right? So we need to click on a block and to start this whole process. Okay, the way we're going to do this, if you follow the sequence here, we did the level setup, and when you click level 1, you are now in player move, and you see this just keeps on rotating around. So we're in that function. So in that function, we need to capture the click of the mouse. So if we go to our level, or I'm sorry, controller, if we go to that function, player move, we need to monitor the clicks. This is where we monitor the clicks. And the way we're going to monitor is we're going to look for a mouse up. This is the left click mouse. 0 is the left click. So now this function, remember, this is running over and over and over again, right? So when you click, we will capture it. Okay, so what we're going to use a technique here called a ray tracer. So a ray tracer is you cast a ray onto the screen where the mouse is, right? So if you look at the mouse, right? So what we're doing is we're going down onto the screen from the mouse position, and we're capturing the object, the first object that it hits, right? So this is a good technique, right? If you want to know what the mouse is underneath, right? Or over, I should say, or what's underneath the mouse, use a ray cast. Okay, once we do a ray cast, we need to know if it hit a block, right? Or hit anything. So the first thing we say, hey, is it not null? Meaning, hey, it did hit something, right? And the next thing we do is we try to determine if it's hit a block. So we go to the collider, we try to get the component, the script, right, off that object. But if it's null, that means there's no script on it, right? So if there's no script on it, it's not a block, it's something else. Okay, but if it is a script, then what we want to do is we want to call the function on the level, which we're going to make in a moment, and we want to say process left click. So this is the sequence of events. And if you remember, we just finished that function, process left click, right? So that was, actually, let me look at it over here, process left click right here. So this is the function that will be called. So we should be able to generate some of these mines. So let's give this a shot. I had a curly brace missing over here. So anyway, correct that if you have the same problem. Sometimes these curly braces, you don't know where they end. But anyway, it looks okay. I have no errors. I go over here, I have no errors, and I'm ready to try this out. So let's give it a shot. So I'm going to go to level 1, and I'm going to click, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9. Okay, so that's pretty consistent. And level again. Okay, randomize 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, just to make sure it's the right number. If I go to level 3 and I click, This one, I'm not going to count them, but I guess it's okay, right? Okay, so looks like these mines are working. Yeah.